Now, new, both of these cars cost about the same sort of money, didn't they? Around about the £14,000 mark.
To the penny, virtually, yeah.
And again, now they're going for similar sort of money, but the Xantia's done a lot less. I mean, half the miles of the Mondeo.
That's right. There's £100 price difference between the two. The Citroen's actually £100 cheaper, and quite rightly so. It's actually done half the miles of the Mondeo. The Citroen's suffered a slightly harsher depreciation rather than the Mondeo. I think that's down to probably popularity of this car, and yet, to be honest with you, the Citroen is a very, very good car indeed.
What would you put that down to?
I don't know really. The Citroen's ride is beautiful compared to the Mondeo, and that's not giving this a hard time, but they really, really are very, very good to drive. The suspension technology on the Citroen's, as known, is far, far in advance than it is on the other models. Specification-wise, they're identical. Same again, remote central locking, electric front windows, tilt and slide sunroof, driver's airbag and power steering. It's just that the actual Citroen has not got the marketplace that the actual Ford has got.
So they're both worth, 3 years down the line, they've lost about 65% of depreciation, something like that. Is that sort of common for these style of cars?
It is for this sector of car, yeah. It's a very, very fierce competition within this sector, as like previous programmes we've done. There's the Vectra in there, there's the Xantia, there's the Mondeo, and there's other vehicles out there. So it's quite a fierce sector. So a lot of it is driven by price.
Any problems that you've encountered with either of these cars?
No, not at all. Citroen, there's no sort of common fault with the Citroen whatsoever. There was early little problems with these, but not much, nothing to write home about.
I guess the Mondeo has the better choice of models in the range. You can have a 4-door, a 5-door, an estate.
That's right. Yeah, in the derivatives with these, like you say, there's saloon, there's hatchback, there's estates, and the Xantia, they do an estate version now, but at the time there's just a 5-door hatchback. These have got a good range from LX, GLX, Gear Turbo Diesel, Gear X. You go to the Citroen, there's basically LX, I think there's the SX and the VSX.
In this sort of sector, we're talking about price range of £5,500. What else could you consider as being, a good car?
There's quite a few cars out in this category, really, in the 5-door medium sector hatchback. You've got the Peugeot 405, which was the saloon version, or the estate actually in that model. You could have the Passat diesel.
That's the old style.
That's right, that's the old style, that's been superseded. There's the Renault Laguna, and there's also the Rover 620. So there's quite a few choices actually.
Out of those, what would be your preference? I mean, what would you sort of go for?
Dependent on the usage of the vehicles, if you're going to do like high mileage, you want to look for the comfort out of the vehicle, and you also want to look at performance. The Rover's quite strong because that's the 2-litre engine in that one, so that's probably the more sharper of the bunch. Looking at specification wise, there again it depends on the derivative. I would probably look at something like a decent spec Passat if you could get one, German build quality, really, really good engine, and go for a long time.
You have to hand it to the French car manufacturers because they really do produce some very good diesel cars and some excellent diesel engines. Citroen, of course, are well known for it. This Citroen Xantia is a car I've never found particularly attractive, I have to say, but I can see the attraction of it. Inside, it's very nicely trimmed, well put together. Things are easy at hand. You get steering wheel controls for the radio, which you don't get on the Mondeo. It also still has that rather annoying keypad where you have to enter the code in before it allows you to start the engine. I know it's a good idea in theory, but in principle, if you're jumping in and out of the car a lot and stopping and starting, it would probably drive you completely bananas. This is a 1.9 diesel LX Xantia. It produces the engine, get this, a whopping 71 brake horsepower. Yes, 71 brake horsepower. But it's got a reasonable amount of torque and it will get you going quite nicely.
The Xantia has been on the market even longer than the Mondeo. It was first introduced in 1993. You'll struggle to find a diesel Xantia at less than £3,000 for an early example. Xantia Estates were brought out in 1995 on an N plate. The cheapest we've seen for those is about £5,000. Fuel economy is similar to the Mondeo at between 37 to 57 miles to the gallon.
Driving the Xantia compared to the Mondeo, it's quite a different car. It's actually a bit more fun to drive, I think, than the Mondeo. It's more precise on the road. It's very comfortable. Of course, Citroen are well known for having their air suspension system, which you get on the Xantia, and you can adjust it by using this little lever here in the center console section. It has rather bizarre brakes, the Xantia. I have to say, it's almost like an on-off switch, the brake pedal. You get the feeling that there's just no give at all. Normally when you press down on a brake pedal and you start to go and the brakes apply and they apply and then a bit more and you get more application of the brakes. With the Xantia you press down and it almost goes ba-dum, you stop dead. The clutch is also fairly sharp and the driving position actually with the pedals is not particularly comfortable. So, decision time. Well, it's not often you can say that the French have ridden to the rescue and helped us out. But on this occasion I think they have, because I really quite like the Citroen Xantia diesel. I've been pleasantly surprised by it. Okay, I've taken my blinkers off. I've opened up the world and seen what a good car this actually is when it compares against something like the Ford Mondeo diesel. Both of them are fairly noisy, fairly harsh, not particularly powerful, but the Citroen is very, very comfortable. That's only done 25,000 miles. The Mondeo has done 50,000 miles, yet they cost about the same. So, if it was my choice, if I was buying between the two of these, the Citroen Xantia 1.9 diesel LX would be my choice.